Hello everyone, it's Enigma here, and today I have a cold, so if I sound really weird in this video, it's just because, I got sick over the week, so that's why I kind of sound a bit different. I get colds all the time, it sucks, but it's that time of year, spring, you always get colds during the spring, so it was just bound to happen, but that's besides the point. Today, I'm going to be talking about a movie that I saw yesterday. I finally got to see it. I've been waiting so anxiously. I didn't get to see it after a couple days it's been out, but I'm just glad I got to see it at all. And that that movie is Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Mark my words, alright? This may be a bit controversial, but I'm gonna say it. I don't care. This is my opinion, and I'm gonna say it right now. I think Pokemon Detective Pikachu is the greatest live-action video game film I have ever seen. I'm gonna say it again. I think Pokemon Detective Pikachu was the greatest live-action video game film I've ever seen. Yeah, I know, those are big words. Those are huge words that, a lot of people are probably going to disagree with that, but I digress. This is my opinion, and I do think this is the greatest video game film I've ever seen. And I'm going to talk about why. Yes, that's right, I'm going to be reviewing Pokemon Detective Pikachu. I'm going to be talking about a lot of things that I really love about Pokemon Detective Pikachu, and I'm also going to compare it to other live-action video game adaptions and, talk about how this game succeeded and others did not. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. So, by far my favorite thing in this movie was that this movie is not directed towards the casual audience. This movie was directed towards us. This movie was directed toward the hardcore Pokemon fans. The Pokemon fans that have been around for generations, have been around since the series began. This is what the movie was. This was the audience that the movie was directed towards. And fun fact, the majority of the people that were at the theater when I was there, the majority of them were actually adults, and there were less kids in this. There were more adults watching the movie than kids. And that goes to show just how, just how evident that this movie is directed towards the more hardcore Pokemon fans, and the Pokemon fans that, have been sticking around with the series for a long time. People like us. So, and that really made me happy, because there was a lot of, things in this movie that, a lot of hardcore Pokemon fans are going to understand. Like, they've had a lot of Pokemon throughout the games and the anime and the manga. There's been just so many references to other Pokemon, and it honestly made my heart just melt. It was so amazing to just see all these Pokemon interact with the real world. Now, the thing that most, live-action video game movies fail at is that they primarily focus on the casual audience. Now, I completely understand why they do this, because the casual audience is, more huge than the hardcore audience. There's a lot of casual fans, but when it comes to a video game movie, I just feel like directing it towards the hardcore fans is what's gonna really make people happy, and it's really gonna make, people just, critics, acclaim the movie. And that's what I think Pokemon Detective Pikachu succeeds at, is that, it's for the hardcore fans, and a lot of the hardcore fans are gonna love it, adults and kids alike. Now, compare this movie to the Sonic movie. The Sonic movie is the exact opposite of what Pokemon Detective Pikachu, targets at. The Sonic movie seems to direct more towards the casual audience, because there's a lot of just, the only thing that's really even remotely close to the video games is the fact that Sonic can run at high speeds. That's the only thing that is even remotely similar to, the video games. Same with something like the Mario movie. I'm a huge fan of Mario. Mario is, if not my favorite video game series of all time, but I absolutely loathe that movie. And it's because, it just did not, stay true to its source material. The Goombas were like humanoid creatures. Bowser was a freaking dude. He was a freaking human in this movie, and the only thing that was even remotely similar to the Mario series was the fact that Mario and Luigi are brothers and they are plumbers, and that's the only thing that was even remotely similar. Hell, Luigi didn't even have a mustache. I mean, that movie just was not good. It was obviously directed towards the casual audience and less so for the hardcore fans. This movie is different because, it's a film that, while it is directed towards the hardcore fans, I think it's also something that a lot of kids would like as well. Because even in this day and age, I know a lot of people these days are playing games like Fortnite, Minecraft, and, a lot of those trendy games, but, there's still some pretty Pokemon, there's still some kids that play Pokemon to this day. Just look at Pokemon Go. That was just such a huge trend back then, and it was a Pokemon game, and it was huge with the kids and stuff. A lot of people were playing that game, so it shows that there are still Pokemon fans out there that are, kids. But I feel like this was more so directed toward the hardcore fans, because I'm pretty sure they've had at least one Pokemon from, like, each generation. They almost showed all the Pokemon in this movie. They put their heart and soul into this movie. They really cared about the product. They wanted it to stay as close to the source material as possible. And it just really warms my heart. I never thought a live-action Pokemon movie would just work this well. And seeing it now, I've always wanted to see what a live-action Pokemon movie would be like, and I'm glad, they went this direction instead of something like the Sonic movie or the Mario movie, where it's just nothing like their source material. So that really made me happy. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything. I promise I'm not going to spoil anything, but all I'm going to say is that there is a huge plot twist at the end. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm just saying it's one of those movies that has a huge plot twist at the end. And it just honestly made me shocked. And it's just so crazy. But back to the other things, another thing I really loved was, Pikachu and Tim's relationship. At first, they're not really getting along real good. Tim is still kind of freaked out that he's able to understand Pikachu, and he's just a little creeped out by that. But, once they, understand, their personal stories, that's when they really start to get along, and that's when, the relationship between Tim and Pikachu makes much more sense. And another thing I liked about this movie is that they didn't drag on things. Whether it was about the story or the jokes, I don't feel like they dragged out things for way too long. Like, the story was straight to the point, it's a city based on Pokemon, and then, automatically, Tim finds Pikachu, and they're just, investigating, where Tim's dad is. And it was really great to see. And, it was just so cool. I loved it. But back to the, relationship between Tim and Pikachu, it was just so great. It's so many things that just made me just really warmed my heart. I loved a lot of things. It was really, sweet what, the relationship that Tim and Pikachu had. Once Tim, started to, realize Pikachu's backstories and really understand the person, well, the Pokemon that Pikachu is, it really warms my heart, and, Tim understands, and that's when, they really start to form a friendship, and, the friendship is just so amazing. Another thing that, was true to their source material is that, there's Pokemon battles, which I didn't even expect. And it was really, cool to see that, in person, like, in live action Pokemon battles. Like, it was so cool. And another thing, I think the jokes were actually pretty funny. I thought there's a lot of jokes that made me really laugh. The Mr. Mime scenes were really funny. I thought they were hilarious. Where they were trying to talk to Mr. Mime, and he just, obviously he's a mime, so you can't really understand him because he's not talking. So it was just really funny to see that. I like how Pikachu is the comedic relief of this movie. I never really thought that Pikachu would be that funny character, but it really works out well, and Ryan Reynolds did a really great job with, doing Pikachu, and I feel like a lot of actors did really great at this movie, again, they're like their source material, I don't remember who voices Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not know who voices Tim, but he, honestly, he understands what a Pokemon trainer is, he is able to capture a Pokemon trainer, with these, like, he's able to really act out a Pokemon trainer, and that's what I really loved out of this. I like how it also introduces the main characters quickly. I know I already stated that. Overall, this movie was fantastic. It was fantastic. I loved it, and I do not understand how this movie has a 65% at Rotten Tomatoes. I never really liked Rotten Tomatoes. I always thought they were a pretty biased, critical website. I never really liked them. I feel like they've always rated, really great movies, like, low percentages, which, yeah, they're a really biased, critic, reviewers. But I don't care what they say. I love this movie. It was definitely one of the best, movies I've seen this year. It might be the best, besides, obvious ones like Toy Story 4, and, other movies. I think Toy Story 4 probably will be the movie of the year, but I think Pokemon Detective Pikachu would be a close second, or maybe close third if you want to count Avengers Endgame. But yeah, Pokemon Detective Pikachu is definitely up there in the greatest, movies of 2019, in my opinion. Now, all we have to do is wait for the terrible Sonic movie. I can already tell it's going to be terrible. Oh, my God, man. This movie is just, ugh. It's going to be interesting. I'm probably still going to see it just to see how bad it is. But, yeah. But compared to this movie, I think this movie is probably going to be more superior than the Sonic movie by far. So yeah. So anyways, if you guys did see Pokemon Detective Pikachu, what did you guys think of it? Did you guys like it, or did you guys not? Let me know in the comments down below, and I would love to hear it. Anyways, this has been Enigma, and peace. See you next time.